Hello, and welcome to episode 31 of the Player 3 podcast. I'm your host, Luke Croft, and alongside me we have the always visually stunning Larry Hunt.
Hello there.
Can you write 11 minutes on the top of this page so that we know what time we started?
Was
please?
that a good radio voice?
That was great. It's fantastic.
Should I talk like that the whole time?
Yes. And then on my other side here, we have He Can Fix You a Nice Delicious Glass Pepsi and Steal Your Daughter's Heart, ladies and gentlemen, Doug Martin.
Hello.
And sitting next to him, we have Benjamin D. Hankins. The D stands for... I never think of one.
Didgeridoo.
District. I forgot the name of the game.
The Division. The Division.
That's it. District 13.
I always wanted to call it the District 2 when it first got announced.
First and foremost, let me apologize for missing an episode last week. Our faithful listeners, if you have not yet killed yourself, congratulations. They were so depressed that we weren't here.
We all died.
It got dark. It got really dark.
Did people get really, really depressed though?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, they got really depressed. And Zephyr says your middle name is Danger. The D stands for danger.
Cool.
I, too, like to live dangerously.
But what happened last week
like to live
is
vicariously.
if you listen to 3 Topic Thursday, you know that all of my friends died. And then I brought them back to life with the dark arts.
We were magically revived.
With no hope of salvation or to ever feel love again.
Resurrection.
I'm joined by my friends.
Resurrection and Darkness makes me think of Darth Plagueis, and Darth Plagueis makes me think of Star Wars. How far have you gotten in Star Wars?
I have watched the first 4 episodes.
Which is awesome.
Nice.
to me.
What'd you think of
So
episode
are you
3?
saying 1 through 3 and then episode 4?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Whoa! What's Dragonfly in here?
All right. What'd you ask me?
What'd you think of episode 3?
The best part about episode 3 is the fact that I no longer have to watch that piece of crap actor that played Anakin Skywalker.
Was it Hayden Christensen? Was that his
You
name?
didn't like 3?
3 was good. I'm not saying 3 wasn't good.
He was good up until no.
Yeah, that was a little ridiculous. But the worst part of that movie, that first trilogy, was the fact that it had that guy playing Anakin Skywalker.
I thought Hayden Panettiere did a really good job playing Anakin.
The thing is, he's being serious. At lunch, he was like, I really don't mind his performance. I didn't think it was that bad.
I didn't
was
think
terrible.
it was terrible.
It was awful.
I mean, I thought it was not good.
He
He
is-
I
he
didn't think
is-
it was bad.
The story of 3 is one of the best illustrations of the slow accidental fade into evil. And it would have been great if they had an actor who could have portrayed that.
He was good in 2 because he does that teen angsty thing really well. But when you're a grown
No,
man,
he doesn't. No.
Well, in other films he has.
Okay,
It was,
but
a
not
little
in that
less
one.
Star Wars. I think he was perfecting his art in Star Wars.
Well, he did a terrible job of perfecting it. It was counterproductive. But regardless, we are the Player 3 podcast. We get together. We get together every Monday and talk about video games and apparently Star Wars now. Maybe we'll talk about that some more in the after
Nerdy
show.
stuff.
What's up, LA Betty, or however you say your name? Hit that follow button. But anyway, we push this out to you on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher. Follow us on youtube.com/player3podcast. And we're live streaming it right now on twitch.tv/player3podcast.
Support St. Jude's Hospital.
Yes.
What?
When I got in here, they just have a big Twitch push now for St. Jude's. So we're on Twitch. I figured you people watching us on Twitch can support St.
You
Jude's.
people.
Yeah, what do you mean by you people?
The people that aren't us. You, not us.
All right.
You.
We're going to get this week started like we get every week started with the releases of the week.
I have to do this one?
Oh, you don't have to. Releases of the week. Clap, clap.
I don't want you to see it coming.
Okay.
Larry owes Ben a jingle because he got his water for him before the podcast, if you were wondering. All right, we have a big week this week. Releasing on both consoles, we have The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
That's gonna be wild. It's
Whoa.
gonna be a funky adventure.
Whoa.
All right.
Can we change my name to that instead of Larry Hunt's Wild Hunt?
I thought
You
you
gotta
meant
do
The
wild
Witcher
stuff
3.
all the time, though.
Larry Witcher.
Larry Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Your brother's name Wyatt, right?
Yeah.
So that's sort of close.
Wyatt
and Wild Hunt. That'd be a great television show.
Well, my Wyatt is actually named after Wyatt Earp, and my other brother William is actually named after Wild Bill. So I guess he's most of the way there already.
William Hunt.
Yeah,
Bill, if you will.
Bill, if you will.
Okay, moving on.
Awful. All right, you guys are excited about The Witcher, correct? You two are. Are you excited
I'm
about
pretty
it?
excited.
Well, I am not excited about it.
At all?
I mean, I will probably end up playing it, but 200-hour games are just a little overwhelming to me. It's not really the experience I like to have. But I don't want to be negative about it because a lot of people are excited about this game. Seth, what are you excited about?
I just love these open world sandboxes. I love immersion. Some people don't like that word for some reason, but I really do.
So it's just a dirty word, Seth.
It's a dirty word. I'm sorry.
Is that where you just melt a big tub full of butter and dip yourself in it?
It's emulsion.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, I love in this huge fantasy world. I've been watching people play it on Twitter. So, some early release guys. It looks gorgeous. I really like the idea of beard growth.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
I'm really excited. I think this is going to be one of those games that I spend 1,000 hours on, and
exaggerating.
No, like I'll play it, for 2 or 3 weeks straight, solid, play nothing else except for Destiny, and then I'll go back to, I'll keep it and go back to it for years and years, like every few months or so, just do a little something, work on some achievements.
Awesome.
All right, 200 though. How do you do?
Go ahead, Larry. What are you excited about?
I'm excited about it not because of the game, but I just really love what they're doing with the DLC and all that jazz. So I'm glad to see a company not be a bunch of greedy jerks.
Yeah. The whole idea of like, hey, this little stuff that normally people would nickel and dime you for, we're just gonna, give to you free, and then you'll pay for the big expansion packs, but they're gonna be worth your money. I like that, Ben.
I mean, it just seems like something. I don't know. It just seems good. They seem like I watched a documentary on their publishing company. They just seem like a good company. Like they want to make their name known. They're in Poland. Is that right? They come out of Poland.
I think that's right. CD Projekt Red.
Poland.
And they're Poland. Yeah, I think it's right. And I watched the documentary about how they got their start, and I don't know. They just seem like a really wholesome company, and I like supporting people who are good that way. Plus, I love big open world games, so it's just a good mix all around.
Awesome. Yeah, buy this game new because, like Larry said, and like you said, they're a great company, really care about their consumers, and the industry needs to support that and show them, like, hey, if you don't treat us like crap, we're not going to buy your game used from GameStop. We're gonna buy it new. Help support you. All right. Also coming this week, we have the Destiny House of Wolves DLC.
What?
Winning!
I'm excited about this.
I'm very excited.
You're excited about
I've
this.
been playing for the last couple of weeks, kind of getting back into Destiny and trying to save up Crucible points, work on my character a little bit, and just kind of in preparation. I'm ready.
I'm ready for it too. I'm ready to hop back into Destiny for a little bit.
I think what makes me so happy about this is that it's not all raid focused, kind of what we've spoken about before. With the Prison of Elders, that's a little cooperative. That's going to be some PvE stuff going on, kind of like a horde mode. And in the Trials of Osiris, we can all do together 3-person co-op Crucible matches. Yes.
I'm really excited about finding people to do the raid with. I just can't get past that. I really want that to happen.
I'm kind of past the whole raid thing at this point. I just, especially if they're going to put something in this DLC that is a little less raid centric and a little more accessible for groups of people like us who it's just 3 of us playing.
Yeah.
I'd be more about that. Now, what story wise are they adding to this? And I know you've done a lot of reading on this as well.
There's a strike and there are some missions, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not.
Oh. Okay. Well, I'm excited about it because I want to see what they're going to do with the story stuff. Because they're taking their time with this. They've taken their time and they've taken the feedback of the community. We can fault Bungie for a lot of things within Destiny, but we can't fault them for the fact that they have listened to the feedback of their community and tried to adjust to what the community is saying.
I've been thinking a lot about Destiny the last few weeks, and everyone thought it was so short and so stifled. But this game, I'm kind of getting a picture of how this 10-year thing is going to work and how to come out with a little bit of content at the time. This next DLC, hopefully dropping tomorrow, it's kind of changing up the game in a lot of ways, and it's just the second of many additions to the game. And if they had come up with this huge MMO type shooter and just released it all, or like just a huge chunk of it at once, I think it would have been this big garbled mess. They've made so many changes and adjustments to it already. I really like the direction they're going in with it.
I would agree. I mean, I think we were kind of upset at first about the lack of content, I guess you could say, or the not so much lack of content, but just lack of direction of knowing what we were actually doing. But I mean, I think in order for them to enact that 10-year plan, I don't know if it's really justified for them to make a smaller game, but I can understand why they're going in that direction now with having less content to start, so they can enact a 10-year plan to. Because if you give everything at once, there's nothing really to give after.
Well, not even that, but it's kind of it's the game's evolving from what it was.
Yeah.
And it would be a lot harder to patch this giant game if in this constantly living universe if it was that much more to it. So I had my problems at first. I still love the game from the get-go, but I'm loving it more and more as time goes on, and I come back to it over and over again.
But the problem still stands that they advertise the game like the experience you're describing now of what it's becoming, that's what we were going to get when we bought the game.
Oh, you're right.
And I wouldn't be as mad about that approach to it if they weren't requiring us to spend $20 per extra chunk they're adding to the game.
Right.
You looked like you were about to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Like, the money that's going to have to be spent is not justified in my mind. And I'm still disappointed with how it has been. The only thing I really loved from it was the Crucible. I'm hoping that this is a turning point and they're about to go in another direction, but I'm going to wait and see before I get excited about it.
Well, we get 4 new Crucible maps.
That's not $20 of material.
Well, you get yeah.
I'll have to see what the other stuff is before I'm willing to invest.
Yeah, seeing what that horde mode thing, how that's going to play, I think that'll be fun probably. Because horde mode is just something replayable. Like I remember in Gears 3, the guys on my hall, we just played the crap out of the horde mode of Gears over and over and over again.
And I love that. I love that.
And depending on how that is given, whether it's like different maps that you can play it on or whatnot, like that could add a lot of replayability to it.
Because that's a huge thing. That's kind of a huge Nazi zombie kind of thing. Like I love Call of Duty just for that. For a while, you'd buy the games just to have Nazi zombies. So horde mode is huge for me.
Also, releasing this week is episode 3 of Life is Strange. I have the demo of this because I want to try it out. Because I like Telltale games. And I've heard that this is like a Telltale game on a next-gen engine. But episode 3 will be releasing this week. Anyone interested in Life is Strange?
I'm going to wait for, kind of like what I'm doing with the Game of Thrones Telltale series right now. I'm going to wait until a disc release comes out, or at least like a whole package. Because I hate playing and waiting. Kind of like the same way I hate watching television shows one at a time now.
Netflix
in a post-Netflix world.
Yeah, that's kind of the way because I bought the season pass for Game of Thrones and I was going to play it as they released, and I was like, it's so hard to keep up 3 weeks in between releases of these things, or however long. And
sometimes more. Man.
Yeah. So being able to just sit down and kind of take it all in one chunk, or at least be able to dictate the pace at which I take it in, works better for me. And then the release the whole nation is buzzing over, coming to both consoles this week. We have Farming Simulator.
Gosh, can't wait.
I am so ready to.
Now, can you grow crack cocaine in your farm?
Yes, you gotta water it with some TLC.
A plethora of cocaine in your farm.
Just fields and fields of crack rocks growing out of the ground.
How many acres can you till?
And you sell it to someone for 20. What? How much do they buy it for on It's Always Sunny? $200.
$200.
I'll take one, please.
one, please.
Well, like one rock of crack.
How much will that be? $200?
That seems fair.
Oh, so Farming Simulator will be coming out this week. It's funny, the Xbox One subreddit has changed their entire theme. Here you go, to the Xbox One Simulator, and it's got the Farming Simulator on it because everyone is so freaking excited about this game. All right, that is everything that we'll be releasing on both consoles this week. I've realized why I never can find what's releasing digitally on Xbox. It's because they don't release what's being released digitally until Wednesday.
Oh,
So that's why we're always
at a
behind.
disadvantage.
So I don't feel bad about it anymore. All right, coming exclusively on the PlayStation 4, we have Aces of the Luftwaffe.
Oh.
You have to show what you're made of as the war over Europe is in full swing. Fight waves of Axis planes and panzers until you hit the boss enemies. What?
That's awesome.
Oh, the Aces of the Luftwaffe. Is that how you say it? It's very German, isn't it?
Luftwaffe?
Luftwaffe.
The Luftwaffe.
It's a Luftwaffe. That's Italian.
It is
Wait, so you're playing as the Germans fighting German things?
No, you're fighting waves of Axis planes.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So why are
And
you an
Zeppelins,
ace of the
apparently.
Luftwaffe?
Maybe Luftwaffe isn't German, even though it sounds German.
Luftwaffe.
Sounds French to me.
Nah.
It's French are
It's
gonna
not,
fight in
no,
this
it's not
war.
very French. It could be
Are you
French.
saying the French didn't fight in World War II?
Not like good.
Oh, it is the darkest hour for England. The Axis are sending their best into the Battle of Britain, and only a handful of brave pilots are left to destroy them. I assume you're one of them. And so that's released. And then we have Arcade Archives Terra Cresta. Terra Cresta is a shooting game that was released by Nihon Busan in 1985. Players intercept the enemy and fight the Space Devil. The Arcade Archives series has faithfully reproduced these arcade classics on PS4. And that is all that we have releasing exclusively on the PlayStation this week. And then, as I have noted, I do not know what is releasing exclusively on the Xbox because they don't update that till Wednesday. So I apologize.
Come on, Phil Spencer.
I'm really excited about Farming Simulator.
I kind of believe you.
I kind of am. I don't know. I feel like my wife would really like that. She likes The Sims, and that's pretty much the same thing, only with people.
In work,
Yeah, you gotta
seriously,
work.
she's about to get out of school for the summer, and then you're going to be like, hey, now you can go work on the farm.
Yep.
Don't do that.
You
to
should
her, man.
buy Goat Simulator instead.
Goat Simulator released Goat Z, which is a post-apocalyptic goat simulator. Pretty awesome.
Okay.
All right, so that is it for the releases of the week.
Releases of the week. Clap, clap.
This is a huge week, man. You got Witcher.
I don't know how I'm going to spend my time between The Witcher and Destiny.
Who's going to stream The Witcher for us? Are you buying it day one?
Probably. I'm off. I'm work tomorrow morning, but I'm off tomorrow night, so I might go and scoop that bad boy up.
So you're gonna do it. So can you sign out of the Twitch on your Xbox and then
I did a long time ago.
And now you can sign in and you can stream it on the Player 3 podcast?
I'll try, but I think he said he signed out that day, and I don't know.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
If not, I'll be on the
Welcome to
Butzers.
Personal Conversation 3 podcast.
Butzz Butzers.
All right, moving on to the news.
News with the podcast.
guys.
Yeah.
He dropped out at Major Go Solo like a worship leader, where he starts the verse and backs off, and the whole crowd's like, "Oh crap, he wants us to
No
sing."
one on the internet understands what you're saying. I don't know.
That's okay.
Maybe there's church
Some of
people
them
out
go.
there.
Some of them go to church.
The Division has been delayed until January through March 2016. Just trying to move us along here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Are we not focused enough for you, Ben? Seriously. When Ben becomes the guy that is holding us into focus, this podcast is crashing quickly to the ground.
No.
These are troubling times.
You guys.
We're going to have to call the aces of the Luftwaffe to come save us. Yes, the Division has been delayed to fourth quarter of fiscal 2015, which is January through March of 2016. Here's my thing about this.
Confusing.
I thought the only thing that they had said about the Division was that it was coming in fiscal 2016 for Ubisoft. Did they ever say it was coming out during the holidays or anything like that? But
No, I don't think so.
how upset are you guys about this?
Not.
Not.
I'll survive. I want it to be perfect.
It's like you said. I'm not surprised by this date. Either I missed the date or I'm like, oh, cool. We have a solid date now.
I'm even more happy if this happens because that means I get a point towards milkshakes.
No,
What?
you don't.
No, that's
You said
not how this-
summer.
You did say summer at
No,
lunch.
not in my prediction thing.
That's how you get the milkshakes.
But it's written differently in the prediction.
If you don't know what he's talking about, this week will be a 2-episode week because we're going to give our E3 predictions. And Ben's not going to win any milkshakes because he's not even going to be here for that episode. So he's got to leave. Anyway, yeah, if they get it right, and plus, like, we're going to have so much to play in the fall anyway.
Yep.
And we're going to have Halo. You're going to have Call of Duty.
And Star Wars and Battlefront.
Star Wars
You're
is
gonna go
coming.
I'm gonna get Call of Duty with you this year.
Right on. So
I wanna
that's
claim
3
more.
first-person shooters for me, plus the new Assassin's Creed, plus what else is there? There's something else
Gosh,
big.
dude, I'm gonna have to
Metal
drop
Gear
out of
Solid in
school.
September. There'll be a couple. There'll be about a month between, but still.
I'm just gonna drop out of school.
That Halo 5 beta was so good, and I can't even wait.
It is going to be a lot of fun. But this is not about Halo
Who
5.
cares?
It's
Could
about
be.
the Division.
It's about the Division. Ubisoft has a lot of news in our little rundown here. And so, next item on the list.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
No, go ahead.
No,
What were you going to say about the Division?
What else is coming out early 2016 that we know of that's going to take up time besides the Division? Like, this actually is kind of a happy note.
Yeah, I think with the release of Dying Light in the beginning of this year, people are realizing you don't have to release in October and November to be successful. You can get in one of those less crowded windows, and actually your game will shine even more.
Right.
And I mean, they can take all the time we want. I imagine we're going to see some sort of beta for the game that's going to help iron some stuff out. And it's going to be good. This game is going to be good.
Cool.
All right, next item on the list. Ubisoft has revealed Assassin's Creed Syndicate. If you go to youtube.com/Prairie3podcast, you'll see our mine, Diz's, and Ben's reactions to this game. But our resident Assassin's Creed expert is in the blue hat sitting next to me right here, and that is Doug Martin.
Hey,
Douglas.
hey guys.
All right, let me just give a little. You give us a little rundown. What's this Assassin's Creed going to be like? What's it going to look like?
Oh,
what's it
Well,
about?
first of all, it looks gorgeous. You play as what's the guy's name? Is it
Jacob and Evie Fry.
Jacob Fry and Evie?
Yep.
I haven't heard about the Evie.
Evie is his twin sister.
Okay. Oh, that's the girl in the trailer.
She can also morph into different flame and
No,
right.
she can't.
Evolves into different forms.
Yeah,
of
depending on what
type.
stone you apply to her. Yeah.
But yeah, this game looks beautiful. The thing, it seems like it's using some things from Unity, like the stealth mode. They've even improved on it. It looks like you wear a hat when you're kind of walking the streets of London, and then when you go into stealth mode, you kind of slip that bad boy off and pull your hood up, put it on the sly. You're going to have horse-drawn carriages and things like that. The city of London, even though it's in squalor in a lot of places, because as one guy was saying in some commentary on one of those trailers, London in the Victorian era kind of didn't have any class distinction in its neighborhoods. You kind of went from a tenement kind of existed in the same space as upper class people's living areas. So you see a lot of cool looking areas. You see a lot of kind of places that are in squalor, but they all look gorgeous. Then again, Unity looked gorgeous and looked better than anything else ever had. And we saw what happened when that came out. Unity's much better now. It's still got a few issues, but I don't know. You can't go into an Assassin's Creed game now without being nervous, I feel.
On that point, if I can jump in.
Yeah.
They said something that I thought maybe some people may be upset over, but it kind of makes me feel better about their release. They're not approaching any kind of multiplayer this time, so that they can focus on what they've always done well at.
I think a lot of their problems with Unity came through connectivity, because you were always in some way connected to the internet if you had internet on, even if you weren't necessarily playing co-op. So yeah, I'm really excited to see where the story goes. I'm always excited about the story. Unity kind of fell short in that area a little bit too, but it still had a really compelling campaign. I don't know. I find it hard to not be excited about Assassin's Creed, whether or not I'm disappointed when the release comes.
Mm-hmm. We talked about that point that Larry brought up a little bit Thursday too. Just that them taking the step back from the co-op side or the multiplayer side is kind of giving them the ability to focus solely on doing what they do best, and that's a single player story. So I think that's a good point to bring out.
Kind of what they did. They did the same thing with Rogue last year for the PS3 and the Xbox.
Has the Assassin's Creed multiplayer ever been a really popular thing?
I mean, it's been popular. It hasn't been wildly celebrated, I feel like, but it's back through Brotherhood through Assassin's Creed
3?
No, 4 really. Even through Black Flag, kind of followed the same function. Like you were they had different game modes, but the primary mode was you chose a character. Everyone chose a different character. You could customize certain perks and things like that, and you kind of had to stealthily go around and try to figure, you were hunting a person, but you were also being hunted. It was this really interesting game mode, and but it's kind of hard to stay into for a long time because matches are lengthy. It's really hard in competitive multiplayer to be still and to be quiet. You really want to go all out because you've got all these cool abilities like little sleeve pistols and knives and stuff like that. But it was a lot of fun. It just never really caught on the way that it probably could have.
The interesting thing is not so much the abandoning of the multiplayer function of it, but the abandoning of what they were attempting to establish in the co-op side of the game, especially with the fact that there are 2 playable characters in this iteration of the game with Jacob and Evie, and the two different approaches that they have. Jacob being kind of the brawler, and then Evie being the more calculated of the two. The game kind of lends itself to a more co-op experience, and the thing that I was hoping for from Assassin's Creed was that they would open up the co-op experience a little more. You know, with the last game, it was
like in the story.
Yeah, it was just you had certain missions that you could do together, and it felt a little disconnected from the overall game.
Well, it definitely was, and it kind of played into the story, of course, but it's still, I feel like they were onto something there with Unity. Because that was a lot of fun. Ben and I did it a little more than we did, I think. And it was a lot of fun just to get in there, two people, and try to tag team a mission. Maybe one of these days, if Ubisoft can kind of fix some of their connectivity issues, I would really like to see some kind of open world sharing between, open world co-op basically for the story.
Well, and imagine like with this Assassin's Creed, and obviously this is all just like what could
pure
have been.
conjecture.
Yeah, pure. Not even conjecture, because it's not going to happen. But I mean, if they took a system like this, I think it would be cool. You've got Jacob, who is going to have his own sets of motives and his own way of going about things, and then you're going to have Evie with those very same things, and some of those goals that they have are going to overlap. One of the main things I like about what they said about the story is you're immediately going to know who your main target is. And the whole game is building towards you finding that main target to kill him. So there's no mystery behind it anymore. So you're going to have those things overlapping and connecting you. But to be able to say, all right, I'm going to play as Jacob, you're going to play as Evie, or whatever. And Evie's got these certain things that she has to accomplish on her own. Mm-hmm. You've got these Jacob has these certain things he has to accomplish on his own. Once those things are all accomplished, me and you will get together and do a mission that will advance the story along, and then we part ways and devise plans and do other things on our own, and kind of, again, that shared world experience in a way that gives us that single player of I'm in this open world and can do what I want, but then adding a co-op that's a little more impactful to the story. So hopefully they'll build on that once they kind of get back to the mojo of what made the original trilogy so good. And part of that, I think, is going to be them sticking with these characters for a while.
Diz said in the chat, fact, the annualized title is keeping them in a rut. And I suspect that is why this won't have co-op. I don't think they had the... This is obviously me just making assumptions, because I just don't think they've had time to work those things out.
There's a very noticeable difference in... If not, visually, these games are always... There's more and more stunning every year. In terms of plot and storylines and, in connectivity and multiplayer... There's been a gradual decline since these games have become annualized. It's very clear.
Well, what we have to remember, though, within this annualization is it's not the same studio that's working on Syndicate that was working on Unity. It was Montreal studio working on Unity, and that's I can't remember who it was that.
But it's just they just have the two studios, right?
I think this is a developer that's never worked on an Assassin's Creed game before. I'll try to look for that, But I think that may be another reason the co-op's not in there, is that, the Montreal studio had the experience of developing on it, and this studio really didn't have access to those tools in time to get it implemented in there. So I think the point still stands that the fact it's annualized meant that this feature wasn't able to make it in. But I also think it is just an opportunity for them to step back and say, all right, we've missed the mark somewhere. People are beginning to get exhausted with the universe that this is in. How can we recapture the magic of what we had originally in the first trilogy? I have no idea what the name of the developer is that's doing Syndicate. If you know, put it in the chat.
That's somebody else.
No, that's Sony. Sony's Santa Monica.
It's God of War, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sony Santa Monica. I'm just really trying to think.
What else are you? Anything else you guys are excited about with Syndicate that you got a chance to see?
I hope that somewhat of the customization from Unity carries over. I know that a lot of that was connected. You had to earn some of the things through doing co-op missions, but I'm hoping that a lot of the choose your garb, you earn different weapons from doing different things. You can purchase weapons through the in-game earned currency stuff kind of comes back, because I like that a lot. I thought that was really cool. And the building up, the RPG element of building up your assassin back to with different points and things is...
Quebec is the developer.
Okay. But having the RPG side of things to be able to add points to your individual, like if you want to be stealthy or attack oriented. Or I hope that stays.
And disassociate it from the app. Please.
Yeah, please.
Please, for the love of
Well,
all
they did finally go back with that in Unity,
Yeah.
and like all those initiate chests and things like that. They did
Something
take a step back from that.
Sorry. Something that intrigues me about that they've mentioned is this idea of reclaiming parts of the city. And we're going to get more details on it in the spring, I think they said. But this idea that you're going to be able to invest in the city in some way.
Yeah, that goes back even to because one of the mission, the gameplay footage that we saw in this last trailer reminded me a lot of back in, I think it was Brotherhood, when you could go around Rome and you had to claim areas for the assassins that were formerly claimed by the Templars, and you would have to like attack a certain, like a captain or whoever was in charge of that area, and then you would climb, you make your way to a tower either stealthily or taking everybody out, and kind of climbing the tower, burning their flag down, and putting your own back up. And that's really what this reminded me of, where you're going to the slums and helping some guys out, and they kind of take your side. And I think you even put a little banner or flag or something up, and they were all cheering around you.
One of the things that intrigues me most about this game is the advances in the traversal system, just the way that you get around in the world.
Ooh, that Gatling hook or grappling hook.
Yeah, the grappling hook, the use of chariots and things like that. Sometimes the parkour system in Assassin's Creed can get tedious. And I feel like there are times where it is not very intuitive, and they tried to make it more intuitive with the down parkour button in Unity.
Unity made some advances, but it was so buggy that
it
was hard to notice them.
And so the grappling hook idea, just to scale buildings that would normally take you a couple minutes, just reduce that to a couple seconds. That's really exciting to me. The chariot stuff, but the thing that doesn't make any sense to me is just how upfront the story is in terms of like you're supposed to be an assassin working in the shadows, but yet so much of of what they've shown so far takes place in broad daylight in the streets, like gang wars. We're going to stand here, yell at each other.
Oh well, it's always been like that to some degree, and
I kind of took it too as this guy was already a gang leader who was then trained by the assassins. Now he
looks kind of like the same way Edward Kenway back in Black Flag was a pirate, and then kind of stole. I won't give any plot spoilers away, but he ends up getting the uniform, and before he actually formally becomes an assassin.
Well, he's a Templar first, isn't he?
No,
he wasn't.
No.
Oh.
I completely misunderstood the
I thought he
story.
was a Templar, then he became an assassin.
No, he was just a pirate.
Oh.
God.
Well, I mean, like I thought he was a fake Templar, and then he became an assassin. That's what I'm saying.
No.
No, I was completely wrong there.
You didn't play too much of that game, did you?
No, I beat it.
You did?
Yeah.
Did you skip all the cutscenes?
Ben was the one hitting X when we were playing Halo.
If I ever find out which one of you was hitting next, I'm gonna break your legs.
Do you guys remember? I don't know if that point was finished or not, so I'll let y'all finish it.
Go ahead.
Do you guys remember I guess it was Assassin's Creed 2 when you could, when you mentioned the take back the city thing, it made me think about this. When you got that, you were in the mansion and you could add things to that little city you were in, and you could
your
build up
too?
you could build up your shops and things. I wonder if it's going to be some. And I guess Unity had that to a point. It had the
Unity
assassin
had it with your cafe, and then I
Yeah.
mean every game's had it since then to some degree. I don't know. Revelations didn't. I believe, but back in Black Flag, you had your little area on the island, and you could even upgrade your town, your little houses around. You had one house, and you could kind of build little areas onto it and things like that. I feel like 2 was the most involved.
Yeah.
But still, if you wanted to get into it in Black Flag and some of the other games since then, it's been there.
I'm hoping it's going to be something different, though, because I'm going to be real disappointed if they're like, wait till spring for details. It's the same thing we've always done.
Milky513 says most players would wait for a really good AC game. Put out a game every 2 or 3 years and make people want AC as opposed to shoving it down players' throats every year. Thoughts on that?
Well, even for someone like me who doesn't buy a lot of games, when they moved on to annualized releases, that guaranteed that I would not invest in the series. I don't like it enough to buy a new one every year.
Yeah.
And if I don't, I won't get the story, so I'm out.
Well, I mean, you can get it on the cheap after a couple of years.
Oh, yeah, I'll go back and they'll
Right.
never see any of my money themselves. But
Or you just watch people play it on YouTube, as I do for the all spin-offs that are for the handhelds.
Milky 513 followed up with that. He said you can't value what you get every day, and that's very true. Like, you can't build excitement for something if it's always just going to be there. I think one of the main things in the Assassin's Creed universe, though, and you can speak more to this if it's true or not, is the fact that we haven't really stuck with an assassin over games.
The Ezio trilogy,
yeah, that's it. Right?
Between 2 and Revelations I feel like that was the peak. 3 had some ups and downs. I don't think that was nearly as well received because it went to that. It was the end of the story of that arc for Desmond, but yet we didn't have that kind of the real, like, the guy that brought us into the series really was Ezio, because 2 was a vastly different game than the first Assassin's Creed. Mm-hmm. And we kind of grew with the series and really got to love it from there, and then you were going to end that arc with a different character. It didn't ring too well with me, and I know it didn't with a lot of people. And the fact that we haven't really returned to the kind of grand story, kind of the master narrative of the series, where you're thinking about these precursors or whatever they call them, the humans that existed before the humans that now do. We've only kind of touched on that in Black Flag and like some little first-person missions in between story missions. It's tricky, and Unity really didn't touch on that at all, which is one of my biggest disappointments with that game.
And the reason I bring it up is because the only reason that, well, there's a lot of reasons probably, but the main reason that they're not going to go away from the annualized release of this game is cha-ching, 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 the cash.
Always.
But I think players would attach themselves better to an Assassin's Creed game that says, all right, we got London. We have Jacob and Evie Fry. We're gonna just get you attached to these characters, and then rather than spending dev costs on building an entirely new world every year, which they've had to do over the last few, with Assassin's Creed Black Flag, with Unity, and now they're having to build London again, and there's been other places outside of that. But for them to just say, rather than building a new world, what we'll do is we'll release one of these every 3 years that'll take place at a different time, but you're going to get huge expansion packs every year that are going to cost $40 that are going to add another piece of Jacob and Evie's story that basically plays like an entirely new Assassin's Creed game, just in the same setting with the same characters that you can attach yourselves to and see the way that it plays out over a longer
or even
period of time.
If you wanted to come out with kind of like what between 2 and Brotherhood did, where you start in 2, you went from like Florence to like, kind of like little Tuscan village, like kind of countryside areas. I think it was Florence, Venice, and somewhere else. Or there were 3 major cities that you went to. And what if this year in Victorian London? That's great. You've got Ireland right next door, right across the little pond there. I feel like if you did kind of a kind of like had a little Dublin, you could kind of go to the Irish countryside and do missions like that. You can kind of create smaller areas and branch off, and even do kind of smaller games with that, if not just DLC.
Yeah. I would like to see more games take that model of, like, people want to play your game and people want to get attached to your game. We don't necessarily need to see a new one every year. Mm-hmm. Just give us things we can add on to the one that we already have.
It's interesting to think about, too, though. You guys, with your single character, the Ezio storyline, Altair was in that, too, to a point. You had the overworld of Desmond's stuff to try, and you kind of had like Desmond doing his thing in current time and the flashbacks of his ancestors, and you don't have like the same protagonist on this side of the Animus now. It's always a different protagonist on the other side of the Animus now too. So I think the big way for them to be able to keep Ezio going so long was because you had Desmond fighting that, figuring out what these things were here, and still fighting the Templars in present day.
Yeah, that's
time.
very true.
And you don't have that now.
And really, Black Flag did something interesting, and I thought that Unity was going to go in a totally different direction, because if you remember back to Assassin's Creed 1, I don't know who all played that in here.
Yeah, I did.
You kind of had that. The in-between scenes in that were in first person, too, weren't they? Mm-hmm. And they were kind of slow. You kind of just went around and did small things. You didn't know who you were. That's exactly what Black Flag did. It kind of started the whole thing over. You were a different person working for Abstergo, or whatever the company was called.
Mm-hmm, that's
kind of their media thing, where they've kind of monetized this whole Animus experience.
Yeah.
And it wasn't very compelling gameplay, but it was I felt like it was kind of bridging that gap and kind of getting ready to open up a whole new story, and then Unity comes along, and you're never out of the Animus. All you do is go into these kind of
warp things, yeah.
warp other Animus missions in different time periods, which was cool, and there were rewards to be brought from that. But that again, that master narrative, that kind of grand arc that we've grown to, that's a major tenet of the experience. It's gone. We got to have some more of it.
And I think if you could just get one side of that back, if you could just get the protagonist on this side of the Animus, that story to be continuous, and not so much the person. I mean, you play less of the story with that person, but even if you have that going and you have the same protagonist there, that can give you some feel of it without losing the flexibility that comes from having different areas and different assassins.
I agree with you.
So between that and the annualized releases, I think they're just spreading themselves too thin. They've got so much they want to tell, so much they want to do, but they kind of need to pull it together a little better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because every year they are always like, check out this huge world, and you'll have to see it to believe it. And it's like, we don't care about a huge world if the story behind that huge world isn't fleshed out in a way that's compelling. And just giving yourself a year between games isn't enough to flesh that out.
Or even 2 years. As Unity proved, they worked on that for how many, 4 years?
Yeah, it was a long time.
And that was one of the biggest failures in recent gaming history, if not in gaming history in general.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing about this game and all future Ubisoft games is the fact that it will not see a release on PS3 and the Xbox 360, according to an article on Eurogamer and according to a investor call with Ubisoft. Ubisoft will no longer be supporting the 7th gen platform.
Sweet.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it was cool. I saw this coming with was it Rogue? Is that the one that was just PS3?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I kind of saw it coming because they didn't make that cross-gen because they didn't want to, I guess, produce for two different console types, and then they didn't make Unity cross-gen because they didn't want to produce for two different console types. So, bravo, Ubisoft. Way to do the right thing.
I've still got to find a way to play Rogue.
Get to borrow Ben's Xbox 360.
Yeah, I got a 360.
Sorry, yes, sir.
Well, and the thing is like, I think as much crap as we like to give Ubisoft for the broken release of Assassin's Creed Unity and with the fact that they screw up all the time with their implementation of Uplay, you're being incredibly considerate of your IP to leave behind that install base. To say we want to provide the best experience possible on the best hardware available to us, then what's that?
Milky.
Oh, anyway.
It doesn't really matter,
but to say we're gonna only release on the best hardware says it means they want to put the time, energy, and effort behind their IP to deliver the best experience possible. And I thought it was a good move to do a PS3 and Xbox 360 exclusive Rogue alongside Unity that was built only for this generation of consoles. But this is a good move by this company, and I think it's a move that I don't think is necessarily going to cause like a domino effect. EA and Activision still see a lot of money in Xbox 360 and PS3. You know, the last game to release on PlayStation 2, I think, was FIFA 13. You know, so like those publishers will do it, but bravo to Ubisoft for saying like
those annual sports titles will suck every bit of money out of the systems.
That's unbelievable.
yeah, pretty crazy, huh? What did Milky 513 say?
AC release. This is the first AC release not to be on Wii U, also.
Oh,
which I guess we don't really care about
was
Nintendo products.
Unity on
Yeah,
Wii U?
No, Unity wasn't.
yeah, it was, wasn't it?
No,
It
I'm
wasn't.
almost positive it wasn't.
Oh, never mind. Sorry, Milky. I don't know if that was correct.
All right. There's one more Ubisoft thing, so I'm going to skip down the show notes here. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, another first-person shooter, releasing in at the end of the year. October 13th is the release date for that. I'm really excited about this game.
Me too.
Honestly.
It was awesome.
I like tactical things like this. Something where we can all get in there and it is really communication based, and it's something that most of us at least seem pretty excited about.
Mm-hmm.
And I attach myself more with those kind of shooters rather than like Evolve or something like that, where Evolve I was on the fence for so long and tipped over. As soon as I saw the trailer for this at last year's E3, little scripted gameplay walkthrough, I was like, I need this game.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly what I want in a first-person shooter.
For those who hate drywall.
That's right.
You can blow it all up.
Anyone else excited about this game?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
very
I
much
think
so.
I'm the least excited in this room, and I feel like I'm going to have to buy it because I'm the fourth person. Well,
Yeah.
no, we got Diz.
Nah, he doesn't play online multiplayer.
Oh, crap. I'm going to have to buy this
Yeah,
thing.
you are.
I'm sure I'll enjoy it, but it's going to be one of those. Around that time frame, I'm going to have Halo 5, I'm going to have Black Ops 3, and I'm going to have, what's it called? Battlefront.
Star Wars Battlefront, and you're still probably gonna be wrapping up Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, no doubt.
early October. All right, next item on the list: Lego Dimensions, the Toys to Life game that will feature Lego figurines, will feature Doctor Who, The Simpsons, Scooby-Doo, and Jurassic World. I'm sorry. And this is alongside some other announced ones, and I can't remember what they are. I didn't care at all. I'll let someone else talk. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
This is one game, right?
Yes.
So do these worlds collide?
If it's like, I don't know. If it follows the Disney Infinity model, you can only play characters from a certain universe in that universe. So, like, you can't use Merida in the Avengers universe or something like that. There is a little bit of crossover because you can play with like Disney characters in Disney universes, but I don't know how Lego Dimensions is going to work. I think the whole premise is that these characters are going to cross over into different worlds, into different dimensions.
I'd love to see the Doctor in a Scooby-Doo story.
That would be a lot of fun.
My question with this would be: is this going to be a little more adult than Disney Infinity? Because The Simpsons, man, that's
a Lego game. I don't know.
But that's a good point. If it's Doctor Who, if it's The Simpsons finding its way into this
World.
Jurassic World, those are a little bit more adult IPs, a little bit more adult universes, and so possibly. But if it follows anything like the Lego DC or Lego Marvel or Lego Harry Potter or anything like that, they're really going to be kid friendly. I wasn't excited about this series until they announced Doctor Who in it, and I'm like, now I'm really excited about it.
How far are you in Doctor Who now?
I am just about through season 5, so I'm catching up slowly but surely.
I have come and seen the Daleks like 3 or 4 times.
I'm a David Tennant.
I'm David Tennant.
Yeah, I'm like 4 episodes into David Tennant right now, so I'm way behind.
Looking at this list, there are intriguing ones and ones that I know at least some of us are fans of, whether it's Doctor Who or The Simpsons, or I like Scooby-Doo. That excites me about this too. What other universes would you like to see included in a game like Lego Dimensions?
Scooby-Doo always makes me think of Courage the Cowardly Dog. I feel like those two should have had a meet-up at some point, and someone needs to make it happen.
Dragon Ball Z. I just don't feel like there's good Dragon Ball Z games out there. I want some good ones. Lego make it happen, because Lego's not going to be the way to make it happen.
Any universe you'd like to see, Seth?
I don't know, man. There was this really cool looking comic series that I always wanted to get into but never did for some reason, where it was Star Trek Next Gen and Doctor Who. That would have been a wild ride. It's not too late. The books are still out there.
What about a Walking Dead in this?
Be cool.
How would The Walking Dead affect the Doctor with his regeneration ability?
Ooh, if he got bit and died,
Be a zombie the next time.
No, I feel like it wouldn't affect him at all. I don't know.
This is something I never understood from Doctor Who. How did all the doctors die when they can regenerate?
No, they don't. They can die definitively, but they can regenerate in the seconds before they actually die. They have a little bit of a time frame, but like if you walk up to a doctor or to a Time Lord and shoot him in the head right before he regenerates, he's not coming back.
Yeah.
So you can kill them while they're regenerating.
Yeah, they're vulnerable.
That's
why he always does it, like in the TARDIS.
They actually deal with that question eventually of why don't you just kill the Power Rangers while they're morphing? Ooh, Power Rangers.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, the Green Ranger.
Greg Miller always talks about Ghostbusters. How Ghostbusters would be awesome in this universe.
If this was an adult universe too, like how awesome would Ghostbusters be in that?
Yeah. You know, Lauren's into Skylanders and Disney Infinity, and I play some Disney Infinity with her. I'm not, all about it, but it's kind of fun. This looks fun to me. And so, here's a picture of the figurines. They're actually Legos. You build the Legos and you put them on.
This is going to be like following that same model with the figures.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. With it's a Toys to Life game. So
does
That's
it
so
recognize if you mess with it? Like if I put Shaggy's head on Scooby's body.
I have no idea how any of that's going to work.
That would
be
be
awesome too.
You actually
here's the
build
Doctor Who ones.
So you do build the Legos?
Yeah, you build the Legos and you put them in.
Oh, they're gonna have Portal in this.
So we're going to go straight to Angry Doctor.
Oh, that was the other one. It's got Portal.
they're
It's got
doing
Back
Peter.
to the Future.
Oh! Back to the Future and the Doctor? Yeah! Yeah!
It's got the Wizard of Oz.
Oh yeah, it's got Wonder Woman here, and then it's got the Lego Movie characters. Pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, it's like a movie. It's not gonna be adult.
I mean, it's got a bunch of different IP in it.
I
It's
can
gonna-
almost guarantee you this is not going to be an adult friend. Like,
I just don't understand why
A
they
game
had the
4.
Simpsons in this.
I imagine it's going to. There are going to be things that appeal to a wide range of audiences.
yeah, it's gonna be
Okay.
it's gonna be like most Pixar movies where they make jokes in there for adults to understand.
Oh,
but
Marty.
it's really aimed towards
and
children.
there's just wieners in the background.
Because I'm sure parents are going to be like cool. Parents are going to be playing these with their kids,
Cool
and
parents.
the parents are going to get something out of it. But at the same time,
They want to get something out of it, so we're going to slide in some off-color jokes.
yeah, exactly.
It's like your parents had to watch
It's
SpongeBob
been a
with you.
proven formula since the old Disney movies. Like they're in there.
SpongeBob.
There are a lot of innuendos in there.
Next item on the list: Sony has opened a new studio.
studio.
David Tennant. Sony has opened a new studio, Northwest Studios in the UK. They are working on a VR project. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a little wild speculation.
Wild speculation.
P3P.
It's revealed that...
All right, we're
Wait,
going.
let me speculate before your speculation question.
Okay, go ahead.
This studio is actually run by Kim and Kanye West.
Yeah, well, they probably already have gotten sued.
Oh
So-
God,
I thought you were
this is
gonna
going to
say
be
Kim
the
Jong-un.
VR sex tape, isn't it?
Oh no! God. Oh,
Too
God.
far,
Tracy-
too far.
But it's just Kanye staring at a mirror.
Tracy Jordan's porno video game from 30 Rock. Oh God.
Oh man, wild speculation. That's what we're doing. We're wildly speculating about what this project might be. What do you think that they are working on virtual reality wise? What are you doing?
I'm yawning.
Oh, okay.
I think they're gonna make a gamer room, like from the movie The Gamer, and they're
With
gonna
the Gerard Butler.
and they're gonna make all the prisoners in the world fight for their freedom in the
Yeah.
games. And they're gonna put them all in Spartan suits, and then bones are gonna get ripped to pieces.
Ripped to shreds, dude. So you're not jokingly, this is actually Kanye West and Kim Kardashian.
That was my wild speculation.
Okay. I was really hoping that was true, actually, because I imagine a universe in which you play as Kanye West, and Kanye West envisions himself as God, and so Kanye West,
Much like the real Kanye West.
exactly, he's got that that little man God
Jesus.
complex. Jesus. But so you play as Kanye West, and you kind of govern the world, and you're all like you have a kind of a hat. With a visor that has a mirror hanging down from it, so you can see yourself at all times. Make sure you don't have any boogers hanging out, because God can't have boogers.
God can't have boogers. Is
God-
that a proven fact?
He made them, so well.
They were
for some of us, he
When
made
I
them.
imagine God, I don't imagine him with a cold blowing his nose.
Yeah, it's
That's
true.
true. Good
True.
point. You win. You win this one.
You win this round, Seth.
Guys, the polls really bothering me
Theology
this
101.
This is not incredibly wild speculation, but I feel like stealth games in VR would be really intense. Like just because there's an awareness that needs to be had in a stealth game. Whereas with like a shooter, you're just running and gunning and you can see. But with stealth, it's like, oh gosh, someone may sneak up behind me and discover me. Like a first-person stealth game.
What was that game that hooked you up to a heart monitor and like it kept going
Until dawn.
Was it Until Dawn?
Was it?
No,
No, it was
that
Alien Isolation, wasn't it?
No.
No, Nevermore.
That's it.
Yeah, that would
Boom,
be-
baby.
Virtual reality would be really cool for stuff like that. They hook you up to a heart monitor, and like, not only are you in the game virtually, but you are like your vital signs are in it. That'd be really cool. Really neat.
Do you have any wild speculation on this, Larry?
Man, it's just so broad.
Yeah.
There's too much freedom in this question for me.
Do you think that Sony would take one of their IPs that exists now and come up with a virtual reality adaptation to it?
Oh, I'm positive.
I mean,
gonna happen.
Take for instance the fact that you have Guerrilla Games now working on that RPG. You good, man?
I'm sorry, it was a comment Milky made that Kanye West is actually making a video game.
Yeah,
about
it's about his mom exploring heaven, about her trip through heaven.
Gosh. Okay, I'm sorry.
But anyway, Guerrilla's working on their RPG that like has dinosaurs and like sci-fi RPG. Could this studio be taking Killzone and doing like a virtual reality Killzone?
The last Killzone was kind of stealth based, and I feel like that could work. I don't know though. I think first person shooters in general could do a lot with this, even if it's just kind of used as a periphery, like we've talked about before. Kind of using that as your HUD, and you can kind of giving you camera control. You can look this way, look that way, and you're still controlling the character with either motion control or something like that, or with your controller.
I would love that so much.
That'd be a great time.
They should use this medium to finally bring back Turok.
Right.
Oh gosh, can you imagine
a next gen Turok? Above it,
standing at the foot of a T-Rex and just looking up seconds before getting your head consumed, and then your head actually gets chopped off.
The helmet has blades in it, and if you die by T-Rex, it just clean off.
Yep, it's the guillotine.
Guillotine.
All right, moving on. Here you go, Larry. Turtle Rock may possibly be working on a Left 4 Dead 3. Yeah. Now, take this with a grain of salt. This was upvoted heavily on on Reddit, but it is also from a site I've never heard of, MasterHerald.com. But it says that game developer Turtle Rock possibly working on Left 4 Dead 3 following launch of Evolve in February, but then it has the most disheartening line here at the end. He also shared that Left 4 Dead will be pretty much like Evolve when it comes out on the next-gen gaming consoles, since that has been their signature gaming style. I don't know what that means.
I think it means the asymmetrical multiplayer, but I may be wrong.
What if it was 4 people versus a horde of zombies?
A horde of player-controlled zombies.
Oh, okay.
Rather than against like one boss zombie, it's just like it's 4 versus 16.
Well, they kind of did that, didn't they, already?
You have
it's
4 regenerating special zombies, and AI hordes was how the first 2 worked. But
it's a permadeath thing. It's 4 versus 16. You play a round. Everyone gets 1 life. So if you're a zombie, you get killed, you're out. If you're a human, you get killed, you're out. And it's the first to win. You got guns and abilities and all that sort of stuff if you're a human, and you have just zombie type things. You've got the hurler and the screamer. And are those the Left 4 Dead ones?
Charger, spitter, boomer, smoker, hunter, tank, witch.
All those. How awesome would that be?
That'd be sweet, but more like 50. There are 50 zombies.
Versus 4 and you only get 1 life?
Yes. The zombies only get 1 life too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Would that work? You're more familiar with the series.
Because the specials their health is way lower than human health. So they get taken out pretty quick.
Even I think if you had an AI horde, but like you kind of several people, like maybe even if you had 4-on-4 multiplayer, if you had like 4 people that would spawn in as a random regular zombie, and you could just they could keep respawning into different bodies and try different approaches out to get in there and get a bite in.
That's kind of how it works.
Yeah,
but
they were special zombies then, right?
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Right.
They're just average.
Kind of the
zombies.
average Joe zombie.
They kiss their wife goodbye and head off to work to try to kill people. Yeah. What if you still had the special function, but then depending on some sort of score, maybe just totally random, you took turns controlling the average hordes, and you got to set up spawn points and how they were going to
kind of like the what was that mode of Battlefield?
Yeah,
kind of like a Fable Legends.
Yeah.
Where you got like the godlike figure that is top down.
So you have Kanye West controlling hordes of zombies.
What if you had to micromanage, like just contact with zombies infects you with the virus, so your teammates have to like micromanage your virus like growth within you. So eventually you turn into a special zombie and kill all your teammates.
They don't understand how the virus spreads, so they just lay you back in a warehouse while the fever takes over.
Yeah. Left 4 Dead, the multiplayer was always like point to point, right? They never had like a horde mode where you had to survive rounds.
Yeah, they did.
They did have that.
And there was the normal mode. You're trying to get to safe houses. There was the regular horde, hold this point as long as you can. And then there was also a mode called Scavenge where you're trying to get gas cans and fill up a generator.
I love that mode. That was my favorite, I think.
What I would like to see is what I didn't like about Left 4 Dead, one of the major things, was that it didn't really have a story to it. Like basically, and get me wrong, it's been a long time and I only played the first one, but you basically had like 5 or so little kind of fake movies that you were kind of playing through.
Yeah.
And they weren't really, there was no story. It was kind of just going through point to point that going through hordes, right?
There was a little bit of story, and in the second one they did make it more cohesive, I think.
Okay. What I really dug about Evolve, almost more than just kind of the gameplay itself, was it has this, you can tell kind of like what I loved about Destiny. It's got this really rich story that isn't on the surface. Like by just the character dialogue, or character dialogues when you're about to drop through the ship and things like that, and through the few cutscenes that are in there, maybe 2. Those character interactions just give you a lot about this kind of universe that they live in, and there's tons of room for interpretation and kind of you to put the pieces together. But I'm sure the next game will give a little bit more and a little bit more. It's got this universe. It's not really telling you a story, but it is at the same time. I don't know. I like that stuff.
Agree.
I like that stuff.
I think it's pretty cool. You got to make up your own story.
And
it's kind of like how Pokemon is.
The Left 4 Dead 2 was more cohesive, I think. Like, because in the last segment of each story, you get some sort of getaway.
Mm-hmm.
But then the start of the next story in Left 4 Dead 2 was somehow your getaway failed. So, like, your boat ran out of gas. So you're just trying to move on to the next thing. But then also the DLC was really cool because it brought in some of the... it brought in the first cast and actually killed one of them.
Oh.
For good.
I didn't know that.
That's interesting.
It was very sad.
I did know that, actually.
I was quite upset.
You know what else can kill things for good? Xbox. Apparently, last week, this is the last item on the list, by the way. That was a terrible segue. Some Gears of War footage leaked. Some DVR footage taken from a guy who worked for a testing company. And leaked on various sites. It got upvoted on Reddit. The guy also claims that all 3 games will be available on this thing, but take that with a grain of salt because he leaked a bunch of stuff and got in a lot of trouble because Xbox, it came out first that Xbox came out and bricked his entire console, making his console unusable. Then Microsoft denied that, saying that they just shut it down from online capabilities. And so, but then a lot of people who claim to work for Microsoft, what do they call it? Customer service, said that they are able to completely brick a console remotely, and that it possibly is what happened to this person. It's a very convoluted story. Mm-hmm. Very convoluted story of what happened. But regardless, Xbox does have the power to brick your console remotely. How does that make you feel?
Are you surprised?
As long as, if they can administer a system update, then they could do anything.
But
they should have bombs in them. And then,
my gosh.
But if this guy was streaming stuff he knew he wasn't supposed to be streaming, I kind of don't feel any pity for him.
I don't feel pity for him
yeah,
either.
it violated his terms of service.
Yep. If you're under an NDA, don't break your NDA.
Or you'll get a lot of flack
and plus, too, this is the system that you weren't going to be able to use unless you logged online every day. It's the most connected set-top we've ever had, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised at all. This is the government's entrance to your home. And I have a camera set up in my bedroom.
Bound chico.
I try to face them away from the bed.
Do you unplug it every time you...
Nothing ever happens there anyway, though.
Well, I mean, as Abraham Lincoln once said, if you break your NDA, I will attack you with Xbox Live.
Abraham Lincoln, NDA hunter.
All right. That does it for the news, boys. News with podcast guys.
Moving on with podcast guys.
Moving on to Protagonist Madness.
Protagonist
I
Madness.
was like, Protagonist Madness.
It changes every
It changes.
time.
It's never been consistent.
This is not a consistent one.
All right. So for the last several weeks, our viewers and listeners have been able to vote over at player3podcast.com about who will win the Protagonist Madness bracket, and we finally have a winner. I'm not announcing the winner right now, if that's what you're drum rolling for. The matchup came down to Samus of the Metroid series. Spoiler alert, is a woman.
What?
Who'd have thought? And then Master Chief, who, spoiler alert, at the end of Halo 5 will be revealed as also a woman.
One name John.
Juanita will be his name.
Johnny's.
Joni.
Juan Alvarez.
So Samus and Master Chief got into a pit with all of their weapons and duked it out for the vote of their fans. And the winner of Protagonist Madness is Master Chief,
Oh.
getting 65% of the vote.
That's close. And we have this cool video that we sent off the Deadliest Warrior that they made for us. We're going to throw it up on the big screen now.
There's no video. He's a big old liar. Big old liar.
It would have been cool if we could do that, though. I wish we knew how to do CGI.
So Chief won thanks to whoa.
Scout.
Copy all over the soundboard.
Good thing you got a vacuum seal on there, eh?
That's open right now because it's
Ew.
really loud to open it. So thanks for all of our viewers and listeners who voted in Protagonist Madness. Every year we are going to do a different one unless one of us dies.
Wait, if one of us dies, the show's over?
If Ben dies, the personalities of the show is gone.
Well, that changes my weekend plans.
Who were you going to kill?
I've been.
Ben?
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Oh, so if you had to kill one person in this room, it wouldn't be yourself.
Not if I had to. If I had to, it would be me. But if I just wanted to kill somebody for pleasure.
He doesn't want to be told who to kill. Okay?
Yeah.
So he's like, you know what? You can't tell me what to do.
Right.
Strong, independent woman.
You are
I
a
don't
strong
need no man.
independent. Yeah, that's right.
Ain't nobody tell me how to live my life. Every day I wake up and I think, how can I stick it to the man today?
Is it
If you've got any ideas for what you want next year's bracket to be, send
We
those
don't-
in to we don't care.
We'll try not to make it 3 months long.
Tweet at we'll figure out a way to streamline this thing to make it a little more better, you know.
A little more gooder.
All right.
The goodest it can be.
We've got reviews. Reviews for you. I don't know if anyone else played anything new this week, but I got to play Rocket League. Let me describe Rocket League to you. You get in a car, there's a giant ball, a domed arena, and you play soccer by driving your car into said ball. It is fast. It is fun. It is awesome. It is in beta right now. It is going to be fully released sometime this summer.
What is it? It's an invader. It's an invader.
I love this game.
It looks awesome.
And it's so simple. Like, really, you're in a car. You have a button that moves forward, a button that moves backwards, a button that jumps, and a button that speed boosts. And you have various like speed boost like things you collect on the ground, and then you put them together, and it's just 3-on-3 madness. I want to play the 4-on-4 mode. It's called Chaos, where it's just 4v4, and there's way more cars rolling around on the track. But it's fun.
2 more, exactly.
2 more cars, which is exponentially more than 6. So I don't have much to say about it except it's awesome. When it releases on PSN later this summer, pick it up, buy it, and don't be a jerk when you play it online. If somebody is clearly has their shot lined up for the goal, don't jump in front of them because you want to get it and then knock the ball over to the opponent's goal.
Yeah, don't be a jerk.
Rocket League.
Review in a word.
Review in a word. Rocket League. Review in a word. Blast. It's a blast.
That's a pun.
The game
And
is
you
a
can
blast.
explode it, too, because there's things like...
Rockets blast.
Oh, I didn't even catch that one.
It's hot in here, dude. I'm burning up.
It's
'cause you-
just me.
If you rocket into someone and you don't have your rocket thing going, you blow them up. And I didn't even catch the rockets blast thing.
So you can blast each other. The rockets blast. The game's a blast. Blast.
We got blast on blast here, guys.
You can get blasted while you play it.
Yo, I heard you like blast, so I put some blast in your blast. Is
All right.
All right.
that it?
We're going to save our random question of the week for our special episode, for our E3 predictions.
What?
We're going to do that in a little bit. Unless you have a random question, because I don't have one.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll make one up right now.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not stalling at all with what I'm doing. I'm just
we'll do the jingle.
elaborating.
We got the
Random question of the week for the month for this week.
What is the most painful injury you've ever received?
Oh, this is cool. I like this.
okay,
one.
I like it. I like it.
Wait, does the injury have to be accidental?
No.
Okay.
Any kind of injury.
Okay.
What was the most painful intentional injury you've ever given yourself?
I got wisdom teeth taken out.
And that was painful? I took a
Yes.
lot of pain
It's
medicine.
very
when that
painful.
happened.
I couldn't
mine wasn't
breathe for a
painful at all.
while.
One time, my dad. I was
Oh
in college.
gosh!
I was in college, and I came home for the summer, and it's a lot of sometimes it's, and especially depending on your area, it's hard to find a summer job. No one wants to hire a kid for like 3 months, if
Yeah.
that. So I moved home. I was dating a girl from out of town. I used to go and visit her. So my dad was like, "Hey, you know what?
Ooh, a lady.
I'm a little older. I don't want to do some of this yard work and stuff like this. I'm gonna put you to work." But you, Leanna.
That's the most. That's, oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna put you to work. I'll give you like whatever. It wasn't much money really, but I was like, I'll give you $50 a week, and you can do some of this stuff around here. And I was like,
That's
So
a
you
lot.
were a slave for
I
a
was
second.
like, basically, yeah. And so one day he was like, go and pull these weeds out underneath these trees over here. And I had never had poison ivy before, or poison oak, whatever it was. I think it was oak. And because
Professor.
ivy's the vine, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I go and start pulling these roots up with my bare hands, and finish up, go home and take a shower, or go inside. I was already home. I go inside and take a shower.
Milky 513 says I took a 2x4 over the back in a street fight.
Milky 513's. I can't say that on here.
Where the pain came from was not the poison oak, but where the poison oak
Ventured.
because
Where did it
I
venture?
went inside and I immediately took a shower.
Oh.
And so the poison oak wasn't just on my hands, it wasn't just like on my face, it was kind of everywhere
The entirety of your
And-
body.
Everywhere?
and everywhere.
Everywhere?
And like there was like one little area in the back that it wasn't that it didn't exist.
I would have thought that your most painful injury would have been the dish you got from Leanna when she never showed up again to see you. Here.
A similar thing happened to me one year during a service project when I was in college. There was a fence that was covered in ivy that I didn't realize was poison ivy, and I was pulling it all down, and every crevasse of my body filled.
Even in the back.
filled with poison ivy.
Even
All
in
of
the
it, everywhere on my body. I laid in bed in misery for like a week. It was horrible.
I remember because something was itching, and I can't talk about that here. It was not pleasant.
Ben, what's your most painful injury?
Oh, I thought I did it already.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wisdom
Well,
teeth.
I mean,
He said his wisdom teeth.
Oh, your wisdom teeth. Yeah, my bad. All right.
He answered with one answer, and you're gonna the one time you were gonna go back to him and drag another answer out of it.
thanks a lot, Luke. Way to go.
Larry?
Okay.
Oh, do you want me to go?
I don't care. So you guys have all heard mine before because it's the only serious injury I've ever received. Well, yeah. All right. So we played dodgeball in college every Monday, and
Oh, gosh.
one day I leapt through the air over top of a ball, and I was the last person in on my team, and I dodged that ball so well, and I can jump pretty high for a Caucasian
White
fellow, and then I kind of balled up so I could go toward the ground faster, which doesn't actually happen in physics, but it makes me feel like I'm faster. And I thought they were going to throw high and go over my head, but the next guy actually threw low and hit my face in the air. So basically, I lost sight of the ground, and what happened is, so I jump over the first ball, start dropping, get hit in the face, lose the ground. So I jumped as high as I could in the air and then landed head first on the ground. As soon as the guy hit me, everyone walks off the court because it's game over. Nobody saw me hit the ground head first. And so I jumped up, and red went everywhere. And it's pouring out of my face so bad that I'm like spitting blood out of my mouth and just stumbling off the court, leaving this trail. And finally someone turns around and he's like, Davo, he comes up in our podcast all the time. And he goes, Larry, sit down now. And I had to go to the hospital and get 8 stitches in my head.
And that was the day that Larry became a boss fight. because
Yeah.
he's so strong, but he's got this one weak point on his forehead. Have we ever determined the minimal amount of force that would be required to bust that thing open?
We haven't, but I mean, I was only walking at a decent pace when I ran into that beam and broke it open again.
Can I flick your head with my finger and see? Right here on the podcast. Larry Bleeds Out Part 3.
Okay, one flick. You only get one chance.
Oh, gosh! Oh, gosh! It kind of appeared again.
Am I bleeding?
No, you're not bleeding, but it did appear again.
All right.
The scar got a little
It'll
bit
take
more.
a little more
It's
than
getting,
a
it's
flick.
getting
All right,
really
that's good.
bloody. It's really bloody
Oh,
looking.
it did swell. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I apologize.
I can't get hit in the head and fight.
Here, I'll kiss it.
It's really red. It's super red. It's gonna
okay.
explode.
It's okay. You just can't flick it again.
It is like the glowing red beam you have to
It really
hit when
is.
you're.
Like,
Yeah. So yeah, you've got to hit a boss 3 times, right?
Yeah.
So that was the first
can
one.
I
and
flick
now
it 2
you're
more
like,
times?
No.
Now
The
you're
second
like
one will break it
staggering.
open, and then the third one you're actually going to cave my skull in.
The
and
third
kill
one,
me.
you'll just disintegrate.
You're like staggering right now, getting ready to give us your power move because
That
the
is
second
so
round
crazy,
you always
dude.
give your power move.
Oh man, my most horrific injury was I was playing baseball and rounded third base, lost my footing, got up. I was in middle school, got up to dive back into third, and my chest hit the ground real hard, and I heard the most horrific crack of my entire life, and I broke 3 ribs. And breaking ribs is really sucky because they can't do anything about it. Like you can't brace your ribs or anything. So for like the next month, every time I laughed or coughed, it was just horrific pains going through my body. It's horrible.
Good. That's what you get for trying to break my head open. I'm live.
You want to flick me in the ribs?
Can I flick you in the nipple?
No, dog. We get kicked off of Twitch.
Seriously, your
I'll
head
flick
is
you in the ribs.
exploding right now.
All right. Give me your ribs.
Okay.
Present
Here,
them.
I'm gonna cover my nipple.
I don't know if I'm any good at this.
Well,
You're not. You're not.
you held it like. Why did you hold it like this?
I have no idea.
No, dude, no. We've got a friend named Nathan Anderson, and he tucks his finger back there, and he flicks incredibly hard. One time, I just got out of the pool, and my nipples were hard and at attention.
You can't talk. His nipples were beep.
and he flicked me and split my nipple wide open with just a flick.
Split
It's
it
still
open?
scarred. I would show you, but Twitch won't allow me.
Later.
Like it
We're
ripped
gonna
off
see
or
this
something?
Later.
It ripped off?
No, it split it open.
You don't have a nipple anymore?
Yeah, that's what I said.
All right.
All right.
That was episode 31 of the Player 3 podcast.
Ended real weird.
I liked it.
It was good.
Stick around on the Twitch stream because we are going to do the after party lounge, and then we're going to move into our E3 predictions. It's going to be a lot of fun.
predictions for you.
You can follow. Let's go around the circle. Give out our stuff.
I'm
can do
Hoobon
it
Trady,
so
all
yeah,
one
well.
word. PSN. I'm Hoobon Trady, 3 words. Xbox Live, and now you can find me on Twitch. Hoobon Trady, all one word. That's me. It's Ben.
It's bad.
Ben. Yeah, I'm Seth. You can find me on Xbox Live at Dongzors. It's DUNGZORZ, Dongzors. Or on PSN at Buttzors, BUTTZORZ, Buttzors. And you can find me at the same name on Twitch. If you follow me on Twitch before I rarely ever stream, so if I can get some followers on there before I stream, that'll maybe give me a little more inspiration to do it, because there's nothing worse than getting on and having like one person in the stream, and that being yourself because you're watching on the computer.
I'll watch you.
Thank you.
I want you too.
I follow you.
You do.
It just occurred to me that
No one else does in this room that follows me, though.
your gamer tags are probably a reference to the poison ivy.
That was actually before the poison ivy.
It was a self-fulfilling prophecy.
right. I will be Dong Cheeto before long.
You just ruined it, Seth.
Someone's gonna steal it now. You put it
You
out
can
there.
do it right now.
Yeah, you got to go change
Go.
it right now.
Get out.
Get on Smart Glass. Change it up. All right.
Can
Larry.
you do it on Smart Glass?
I have no
Yeah.
idea.
My name is Larry. I am on Twitch and Twitter at Lair Hunts Zombies. LARHUNTS Zombies.
And I am Luke. You can find me on Twitter at TK from Antioch, PSN at Lodger Blackman, and Xbox Live at Download a Hoagie. We are the Player 3 Podcast. Find us everywhere on the internet at Player 3 Podcast, twitch.com/Player 3 Podcast.tv/Player 3 Podcast, YouTube.com/Player 3 Podcast. All over the internet. We're the Player 3 Podcast.
Player 3 podcast.
P3P.